So, a couple questions about the best ways, or good ways at least, there's a wide variety of them, to use your Zoom and phone as an artist to join these Zoom art drawing groups and paint jams. So, I'm going to spotlight Jason Leeser, and he's going to show us what he's got going on here.
Cool. So I've got kind of like the non-professional budget set up for a kind of way to do it, I guess, quick and dirty. Um, but it still allows you all of the features so that you can kind of have some semblance of like what I have now. And I'm going to go through and take my webcam and give you guys a kind of tour of what I have set up and how I've got it set up and all that stuff. So I've got a dual display going. So I've got my my large Cintiq tablet, which I don't really use too much anymore.
Oh,
But it works great as a second
camera
monitor.
big? Because right now we see the chair really
Oh
big and you
yeah,
very
yeah.
tiny.
Good point. Good point. Let's do this. There we go. So right now I've got my my Cintiq, which I don't really use too much anymore. And if you guys are wondering what webcam I'm using, it's a little $60 Logitech C615 or 620, I think. But I've got two of them because I was using one of these for the overhead for a little while. It's this little guy. Works great. It's got 1080p resolution. It's got a built-in microphone, and it's actually way better than a lot of built-in microphones. Part of the reason why I grabbed it. Don't know how well you guys can see that, but great little webcam to have. It also has a little tripod mount on the back of it. Very, very handy. And you're going to need something with a tripod mount to kind of do overhead shots and stuff like that. So moving along, I actually just as of like 1:30 last night, hooked up a digital SLR to use as my overhead camera. So that's, I had my old Canon laying around, which I hadn't touched in a few years. So I hooked that up. And this is a little like $20 desktop boom arm that I got. And it's actually threaded to secure onto digital cameras and webcams, microphones, all types of stuff like that. I think it was originally meant for a microphone, but it's threaded the same as a digital camera. Now, because of that, I had to add a little bit of weight to the stand itself just to keep it from toppling over. But I get much more clear of an image whenever I'm using that as opposed to a webcam. For the
A
longest time,
world
I
of
was
difference.
using this webcam to point downwards, and I would just screw the base on to the little arm, right? Screw it right in there, and then that way it was pointing down. And the way that I keep getting these dual display setups and whatnot, believe it or not, my little secret is that program there. It's called ManyCam. Don't know if it's going to focus right or not.
Almost.
I'm trying to get it.
Is it manycam.com?
Yes. Yep. ManyCam. And I bought the annual license for it. I think it was $40. And what that will do, just to give you a brief little tour, in fact, I'll share my screen. That'll make things a little bit easier. Let me put this back real quick. So you guys should be seeing my ManyCam screen in just a second. Cool. So this is ManyCam. I really like this program because it allows you to integrate whatever video inputs you want. And you can set up different screens for different shots. You can flip everything. You can zoom in. You can do brightness and contrast, saturation, adjust what frame speed you're broadcasting at, what resolution you're broadcasting at. You can add like lower thirds and everything like that. So if I wanted to do a flyover, boom, there's my flyover. And you can take that off and you can customize everything.
Let's why don't you want to just first go through the base setup? So you have like the two cameras. So you have the one camera that's on you and then the other. And maybe once we get through like the the base of what artists can do to hook up, then talk about some of the bells and whistles.
Cool. So I'm centralizing everything right off of my laptop, and I've got a little dock here. Everything that I try to use, I try to make sure everything can be connected all at once. So I've got like a little USB-C dock. Everything that I use is either HDMI, which is what this guy is, and then I've got USB that goes right into the digital camera. My other USB webcam right there, that goes to the guy I'm actually holding right now. And everything just gets plugged into the laptop and everything gets streamed out through that program.
Yeah, so let's see. So if you could show us in Minicam how to do the two cameras.
Yep. So for that, that's actually the easy part. And I'm actually, so to go through, say I wanted to set up a new, say I wanted to customize this look right here, but I wanted to add another camera, right? I wanted to add my downward facing camera. Over here under presets, right? You can have different presets for what you want to do, but you can also add video sources here. So if I wanted to add my downward camera, I would click the plus sign, webcam, and this picks up all different types of cameras. I could even hook my cell phone up and have the camera from my cell phone pointing down if I wanted to. It's a great little nifty program. From here, I would choose EOS webcam utility, right? So now I have both here and here, okay? From here, I could go through and I could say, all right, let's add, I think I just dragged it and dropped it before. No, that's preset one. So if you take whatever preset you have set up, you can add, you know, I think it's another layer. Where is it? No, that's virtual background. Add new layer, right? So there's my new layer. And I can say cameras, EOS webcam, and now I have my EOS webcam pointing down. But in order to get it so that it doesn't really confuse me, I always flip that around and I'll flip it horizontally and then vertically. That way on the screen, it's as if you're sitting right in front of it. Now here's the cool thing, right? So you can go through, as long as you have your webcams plugged in correctly, you can switch them back and forth. So if I wanted to go through, once again, I'm going to add this as a source, right? And I'm going to add my Logitech webcam here as a source. Okay. Now, because I flipped that before, it's already set to be flipped. So I'm going to reset that. So now I've got dual display, right? Or dual cameras in my feed. Now, say you wanted to add like a little Instagram tag or something like that. All you would have to do is go through on your preset. And I do a 2-finger click or a right click, and you can add all different types of stuff, images, videos. You can do, you can hook up an IP camera, which is a network interface camera. You can send layers forward or backwards, add a PowerPoint, YouTube URL. So if I wanted to plug, say, the Reinventing the Tattoo YouTube channel, I could throw that in there. I could add my desktop and have that in there. So that could be displayed all at the same time. Color sources, another network device interface output. So you can really go through and start to get super creative with all this stuff. You know, I could even add a third webcam in here if I wanted to, by once again, coming here, right click, camera, FaceTime. Okay, so there's my FaceTime camera. So I'm going to switch that back to my EOS webcam. And if I want to add a new layer, there's my empty layer, cameras, FaceTime. FaceTime's the built-in camera on a Mac, by the way. So now you're getting way too many images of me at this point in time. Don't recommend that you look at me too much. It's this shot especially is not very flattering because you can see all the other crap that I have around me. But that's essentially how I would go about setting it up. From there, I always like to add, a little moniker, and boom, that's my standard setup. It's how I integrate everything is all through ManyCam. When I'm done using ManyCam, right, once I have everything set up, when I go to share a video source in Zoom or in YouTube or anything like that, one of your choices for webcam that'll pop up is ManyCam. If you choose that as your video source whenever you're broadcasting, you'll have all of these presets already set up, already set and ready to go, so that all you have to do is go through and say, which layout do I want to use? Do I want to use this one? Do I want to use this one? Which preset do I want to go full screen with this? If I cut over to here, I can get rid of the FaceTime camera. Say I want to get rid of my EOS webcam. And so now I'm down to this guy only. We'll make that nice and big. So maybe I just want to do this as my only video source in this frame, so that way I've got one for this, I've got one for this, I've got another one that I can play around with as an experimental, and then I've got my primary. And you can switch back and forth between those live, obviously, because if you're seeing my webcam, that's exactly what's happening.
Jason, I don't mean to interrupt, but I do have a question about this though. Like, are you able to cast onto another monitor if you wanted to? Do you have to hook that up manually with an HDMI cord, or would you be able to use another app to kind of like cast onto, let's say, a television screen?
So that would all depend. That would all depend. So yes, I could broadcast out from my laptop straight to another screen. That would basically just be setting it up as a secondary display.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, that's cool. Kind of what I'm using my Wacom for now.
Okay, gotcha. All right, cool.
Yeah. Cool. And I even have like another tiny little screen over here that I could hook up if I didn't want to have the big Wacom. But I always like having the versatility to switch over to that if I want to, say, annotate in Zoom, or, want to show something or show someone something in Photoshop where I've got to do some drawing. Well, I can show that to them, and it's already hooked up and calibrated and ready to go. So I always like having that ability.
Awesome. But, hey, that was awesome. If you're interested in hearing more from Jason about all of these different tricks, then you can click on one of these links to check out the drawing group that's hosted by Jason every Sunday at 1 o'clock. And definitely click the other one that is the subscribe button. And then this will be the end